Hey friends, this is my second post of the day because I recorded one this morning, but it was to make up for the one I didn't do yesterday. I have not, I've missed 2 days of in the last 3.5 years were 2 days where I didn't record a post. Sometimes they get posted later, or I've started the upload and then it fails, so it doesn't get posted until the next day. But there's only been 2 days when I have not actually recorded one. One was yesterday, and one was a couple of months ago. And in both cases, I kind of made a conscious choice. Like, I'm going to let it go for today and just was okay with that. I like to keep it a pretty consistent practice, obviously. But the other thing that doing two posts today allows me to do was, first of all, recap my own experience in this morning. I talked about where I was yesterday and um, the presentation that I did at the music teachers conference in Waco, Texas, of all places. It was quite an experience for me. It was really really good for me to go through that and to have created what I created. And tonight I get to reflect on the first day of the Intermountain Suzuki String Institute, which is a Suzuki string camp for pretty much all ages. I think it centers around mostly young players, but there are also some adults and even some seniors who are studying a string instrument, and they're in some of these classes. And it's really cool. It's really interesting. It was almost bizarre because I walked into the auditorium of the high school this morning, outside the auditorium, and there were all these stands set up, music vendors, violin vendors, and it reminded me. I was looking at a lot of the same products that I had just seen at my music teachers conference in Texas. So it was like I clearly a particular kind of environment is germane for me right now. But but going beyond that, there's a culture. There's a culture of music, and there's a culture of musical families that we enter into when we go to a big event like this. When we go to something that's of this scale. I mean, there was something, I think they said that there's something like 565 participants, child participants, and another 200 or 180 some teacher training participants. So like youngish string players for the most part, in their 20s, maybe college age, who are doing teacher training. They're doing, a lot of them are doing, music education at the college level, and they're doing this as part of a Suzuki teacher training certification, or it's just part of them developing themselves as teachers. And so it's a zoo full of string players. and we got to enter that environment, and we got to be there. I got to watch Annalise live there, settle in there, be herself there. And it's really interesting. It's kind of remarkable watching a young person, quite a young person, 5, she's not yet 6, she'll be 6 in about 3 months. Watching someone that age enter an environment like this and then be surrounded by all these other kids. In Annalise's case, a lot of the times the kids are older than she is. So there's almost like this kind of, who are you? You know, there's this kind of like curiosity about the other kids that comes out. Um, and what I saw today in her was a remarkable level of focus, a remarkable level of emotional endurance and concentrate, you know, the focus endurance. These days are long. This camp goes all day, every day. I mean, it's like it. They're at it all day, and I was really curious. I was really kind of wondering, well, what's this going to be? You know, how's this going to feel to her? What's the environment going to be? What are the teachers going to be like? What are the other kids going to be like? And you know, so far, I mean, we've only had we only had like a half day today because the first half was orientation, but I got to really watch her resonate with some other kids. I got to watch her. There was one class at the end where she was in the wrong class, or she was kind of in the wrong class, and slash the teacher was teaching incorrect material. As I discovered later, I found out the teacher was not supposed to be teaching quite such an advanced piece. So it was a piece that Annalise had never played, and she's desperately trying to keep up and kind of wondering, like, why am I here? And so that was a portion of the class, but then they also did some other things that she did know and could participate in, and I watched her go from being kind of dazed to at some point deciding to go walk. They did this exercise where they were playing and saying their name, playing Twinkle, 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 Little Star, little, like the first piece everybody learns. So it's the idea being it's simple. They can play it with hardly thinking about it, and they can walk around and say their names to each other as they play. So they're doing this, and I saw Annalise go from kind of like dazed, spaced out, like I wasn't sure. I was like, "Are you anybody home, honey? Are you okay?" To like looking around, seeing another person, and saying, "I'm going to go talk to her," and then like walked over. So I watched a bit of intention and assertiveness show up. And that's really thrilling. It's really thrilling to see a person that young being self-possessed in that way, starting to feel comfortable being self-possessed. And you know, I could go through the whole day and just recap everything that happened, and it would just be a string of things. Some of them would be very interesting, and some of them are absolutely fascinating to me. Some of them are not that interesting and wouldn't be interesting to talk about. But what I really kind of received today, I think I'm on the lookout for, like, well, what's my, you know, what how do I stand in all this? What's my role here? And as I said this morning in my first post of the day, my role here is to support and to nurture and to really, more than anything, make the experience a positive one. What gets learned, what doesn't get learned, how much progress is made, does not matter. That's not the point. I mean, it's great that there are some. She has one teacher today who really was fantastic, and they hit it off. I was really glad that it was a good pairing. But it's not, the point is not how far she gets with the material that anybody's giving her. It's, I want to watch her become more herself here. That's what I want to see. That's I think that'll feel like success to me. And of course, have a positive experience around music. Right? She's in a musical environment. I found her, it was hilarious. They did this play-in the morning. The play-in is basically like all the kids on stage playing all the songs they know. It's not all of them, but it's a good number of them from books one and books two, book one and book two of Suzuki, all the way into a couple of book three songs. And she came off the stage and she didn't want to leave the auditorium. She wanted to practice one of the songs from book three that she doesn't know yet. Like, she was immediately hooked. The first thing out of the gate, she heard other kids playing something and wanted to learn it. It was so, and so I didn't want to stop her. I just sat there in the auditorium going, oh, okay, I guess we're going to just like stand here in the seats and like, you're going to try and learn this piece by ear with no music and nobody guiding you, nobody correcting any of your mistakes you're making. But that spark of like, I want to do this now. I want to own this. I want to take ownership of this. I mean, that is the name of the game, man. So if I can support that, and if I can keep her feeling happy and enjoying, we'll be in good shape. It's actually a bit of a luxury because it takes all the pressure off of me to create any kind of musical progress. I mean, we're actually, funny enough, we're still supposed to be practicing, even though we have 9 to 5 music classes. We're supposed to somehow practice outside of that time. Not heavy lifting practice, but just little things. But some practice. I was like, okay, wow, here we go. but I think if we can lean into the culture of this and get some joy out of the experience of it, get some joy out of the playing, this could be a massive experience, just a hugely formative experience. So let's go for that. That's where I'm at. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a wonderful day. You'll hear more about this tomorrow. See you soon.